This week marks 33 years since the Americans with Disabilities Act was signed into law, banning discrimination against workers with disabilities. Yet employees are often reluctant to disclose the disability. Sharon Epperson joins us now with some new findings. Hey, Sharon.
Good morning, Joe. You know, a new report by the nonprofit Disability In recently surveyed 485 companies in 30 industries and found the vast majority, 93%, encourage employees to confidentially self-identify as having a disability. But most aren't doing it. Only 4.6% of U.S. employees at those companies self-identify as a person with a disability. Meanwhile, the prevalence of people with disabilities in the workplace is far greater, as high as 25%, according to a recent survey by Boston Consulting Group. Some employers, like PSEG, an energy company based in Newark, New Jersey, have initiatives to help foster more inclusion and encourage people with disabilities to bring their full selves to work.
We'd be excluding a huge pool of potential employees if we weren't focused on that population, and not just bringing them in the door, but making sure they had the resources and the comfort that they need to feel included and want to stay.
Still, many people with disabilities may stay silent, fearing stigma or losing out on a job or promotion. Disability rights advocate and author Emily Ladau, who I met with recently, says that can change.
When we shift that narrative and we begin to say, you can identify as having a disability, that is something that you can be proud of, that makes you who you are. That number of people who are identifying in the workplace as disabled is going to grow.
After its awareness campaign, PSEG saw the percentage of people who identify as disabled in its workplace triple. Joe?
Okay, Sharon, the process for accommodations at work is often a difficult one. Could that be deterring employees at this point from requesting what they want?
You know, it actually could. The American with Disabilities Act is requiring that employers make reasonable accommodations, adjustments or modifications for employees with a known disability so that they can have equal employment opportunities. But many companies don't know how many of their workers have a disability or even require accommodations. And researchers at Boston's Consulting Group say companies may not offer or approve some accommodations because of that. They also found that when people with disabilities request reasonable accommodations, whether it's equipment or software, flexible working arrangements, or adjustments to their physical environment, and those requests are approved, the outcomes at work improve significantly. And also, one thing that companies worry about is the cost, right? But the expense generally is not that great. 56% of accommodations cost nothing to implement. According to a recent report, others cost on average about $500.
I can understand why people don't want to say anything, though. If they think it's going to be something that the employer looks at and says, oh, you're not as valuable as you were before. And I think of it just even when I was pregnant, I didn't want to tell people.
Yes, exactly. And you don't want to, and particularly people who have that invisible disability, people who might be neurodivergent, may not want to explain what accommodations they need. They don't want to be missing out on any opportunities and be lower on the rank.
I think the key is it has to come from the top. If PSEG is doing something like that and letting people know it's okay,
and have leaders say what their issues have been, and be really open about that.